Live from the Heart and Mind Studios in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's another episode of Seriously Mental with Chris Shaw. Tonight's guest, and musician, author, and talk show host, Miki Speer. As always, Seriously Mental is filmed in front of a live studio audience. Member. Now please welcome your host, comedian, and peer support specialist, Chris Shaw. Good evening. How are you? Excellent. That was my impression of Beaker from the Muppet Show. Thank you. I'll be doing more of those. Probably not this show, based on that kind of reply. How are you tonight? Chris Shaw here with Seriously Mental. Seriously? Seriously. Seriously Mental, a show where we talk about things about mental health and wellness and illness and other things. And hopefully have a little fun with it. I'm excited because we have some guests here tonight. You know, here we are at right about the usual time we check in, exactly 4 to 7 to 8 to 12 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, because we're not being rushed by, you know, a rerun of Friends or anything right after us. So we really have some flexibility. But yes, guests here tonight. We'll be talking with shortly certified peer support specialist, Tiffany Splettstoeszer. You spell that. I can't do that. It's I can't believe if it fits on the back of a jersey. That probably took 2 jerseys to do that. And guess who's coming for a musical guest? That's right. It is the return for her first time of Miki. Oh, Miki, hope you're coming to join us. Miki Speer, who was going to be here last week, and boy, did I have some fun with Zoom. But if you did catch my reading that I did from Bubble Bear to make up for the missed Zoom opportunity, I'm hoping you enjoyed that and maybe shared that with friends and neighbors and loved ones or circus clowns who like balloons and bubbles. I keep ducking down there. Yes, that's me, Chris Shaw from the Heart and Mind Connection. This show brought to you by peer support specialists, actually. Isn't that weird that Tiffany's here to join us for that? So that'll be exciting. And then Miki, she is going to play her new single that dropped on Friday. So we're really excited to have her on playing that. We had hoped to have her play it last week before it came out, but now you'll hear it newly dusted off from a long weekend of being bought on Amazon and other music sites. So that'll be fun. It is cold out there. If you're not in Minnesota, let me tell you, we have had one of those weeks. Super chilly. How chilly was it? Thanks for asking. So chilly, I was actually on eBay yesterday selling ice to Eskimos. That's what we're doing here in our state. How is it where you are? Tell us. Jump on to Facebook Live or YouTube eventually today when we figure that out. And just send a question or a comment or a soup recipe, because darn it, it's cold. And I've been having a rough week. I'll be honest about that. That's what we do here, right? We talk about when we're having a rough week. Saw my doctor, and I was just like, you know, I don't know if it's these blahs or the cold and being inside. He was like, you know, do you take vitamins? You should try like a multivitamin or something like that. And I was like, well, yeah, I think we have probably something around the house. And my kids had some, I don't know how old they are, but some of those Flintstone chewables. Yeah, tasty. I've been taking them since Monday. I don't know if I'm feeling any better, but I can stop my car with my feet, which I didn't know I'd be able to do that. That's fun. That's right. I'm from an older time, people. For an older time when you weren't judged by the label on your jeans or the kind of tennis shoes you wore. You were judged simply by the content of your sack lunch. And that was good enough. What do you got, kid? Let's see. Head cheese and olive loaf. Ooh, keep that. You're not trading for me. I was in the service a long time ago. I think some of you know that. The Navy. And it was quite a number of years ago. So you younger folks out there probably only know it now as Old Navy with the striped shirts and everything. And that was us. Striped tees and $5 sandals. And we look good, darn it, storming the beach. That's what we're doing. So we're going to jump ahead. I'm sure you're glad, right? What now? Yes, let's do that. Let's jump to a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back from the desk with our first guest, Tiffany Splettstoeszer. Be right back.
We had been planning a hiking trip to Yosemite for the longest time, and last week she wasn't even excited to go.
She kept telling me how much she loved me and saying goodbye like I was never going to see her again.
She even started dressing differently, like she didn't care how she looked anymore. She even gave me some of her favorite clothes.
I knew something was different. She stopped turning in her assignments, and she started skipping class.
When I talked to my little girl, she just wasn't the same. It was like I didn't know who she was anymore.
The signs were there.
I didn't know the signs.
We didn't see the signs.
I will call someone.
We will find help.
I will ask the tough questions.
I will see the signs.
Everyone has a part to play in preventing suicide. For more information, or if you would like to speak to someone about yourself, a friend, or loved one, call Counseling and Psychological Services at 510-642-9494. For more information about counseling, health, and wellness services through the Tang Center, please visit the Tang website at uhs.berkeley.edu. You can help save a life. You can learn how to help someone overcome, endure, transform, and become greater than their suffering. Know the signs, ask the tough questions, and find help.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to Seriously Mental. Seriously? Seriously. I'm telling you. What do you think of the new set? I just built this over the weekend because I had some extra time just hanging around the house. So as you can see, we've moved to beautiful downtown Minneapolis here, where some people have just been rude and left their lights on again. Feel free to just start chatting in the middle of the show there, Gabriel. That's our heavy-duty producer, Gabriel, wandering around over there. Seriously? Seriously. Couple of things I wanted to mention before we jump into our first guest here. Hey, I want to thank my friends at AFSP Minnesota for sending me out a fabulous Hope hat. Earthquake! But our Hope hat, I'm going to put that on the mic tonight. So you're going to have to turn up the mic a little bit. We're going to have hope throughout the show. Look at that there. I like that, huh? Beauty. So big thank you to them. I look forward to seeing them on next Saturday, actually, for some board fun that they're having. And like most of you who are watching the show right now, probably bored yourselves, saying, wow, this should really get going. Why don't we do that? Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you about. We will be doing another. We had a lot of people show up, and then some people couldn't get in to one of our recent QPR courses. So if you go to the theheartandmindconnection.org website, you can get in on some additional QPR courses coming up online at the beginning of March. So take a look, follow the link, get signed up, and get this incredible information. All right, enough of my jabbering, and all those things. Ready to move on there, sir?
Well, your mic is clipping.
My mic's clipping, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big clipper. Let me move it down a little bit. There we go. Clip. All right. I'll try not to be so loud then. Hey, how about our first guest? Sure, Chris. Thanks for asking. So, let me tell you. This gal, I happened to run into her when I was doing a commercial for a local business, and her sister was in the scene with me. And we were talking about mental health and mental wellness, and she mentioned that she was from out in beautiful Waconia, Minnesota. And we started talking about her sister, who works at this fabulous place called the Hive in Waconia. And sure enough, information got passed, names were exchanged, people called people, and their people were with the other people, and bang, next thing you know, she is on our show tonight. So she spent the last 15 years in LA and New York doing things other than what she's doing right now. But she brought her mission to help others back to her hometown of Waconia, which I think is really cool. If you have an opportunity to check it out, we'll have the website for the beautiful place out there coming up. Her passion for relationship healing developed from her own experiences with abusive relationships and divorce. And now she's working as a state certified peer support specialist. And we talk about that on the show all the time because lived experience is what will break through for other people who are struggling, to be able to share what we've been through and not tell you how to do it the way we did it, but help you understand what it is you need to know and feel empowered. And we're going to ask her a lot about that tonight. She's also an integrative wellness coach, and she's used her personal testimony to partner I'm trying to read this up. Position of understanding, empathy, and curiosity. I should have just let her tell you because I'm sure it's much more passionate when she tells you. So her specialties include relationship healing, domestic abuse and trauma, and divorce, breakups, self-esteem, anxiety, depression. She does that with her education as a peer support specialist. She does it at the Hive in Waconia. Who is it? Well, it's Tiffany Splettstoeszer. Please welcome her. Hey, there she is.
Hi.
Wow.
Thank
Just
you,
sitting,
Chris.
waiting patiently, haven't you been?
I am waiting. Yep.
That's
patiently.
awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about this journey that had you in New York and LA and then coming back to Minnesota to get certified as a peer support specialist?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Oh, how did it happen? Right, we look back in our lives and we're like, how did I get here? Well, I guess mine started here. When I was 18, I moved to New York to pursue musical theater, and that was my dream at the time. Ever since I was 7, I wanted to do acting, and I moved out there. Then, after about 2 years there, I got my certificate in musical theater, and I decided, it's too cold. So, I know you'd think from Minnesota I would be used to that, but, walking 10 blocks in that to get to school, I was like, okay, warmer. So I hopped coasts, and I went out to Los Angeles, and that's where I've been the last 11 years, working in the entertainment industry. Did some acting. I worked primarily as a photo double and stand-in for any tall blonde actress you can think of. I've probably worked for them. And it was fun. It was stressful. It was an industry. It's a tough industry. That it really brought out some of that mental health struggles for me when it came to body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression. I found myself out there in a lot of abusive relationships, and ultimately a marriage that ended in divorce. And after all that, after 11 years and kind of just fighting to survive in that tough business, I just kind of felt like it was time to go. And so I loaded up my car, as I did 11 years ago when I drove out there. I just loaded it out with a car full of stuff, and that's about it. And a dream to do something different. And I drove back, and I was actually just supposed to come back here for 2 weeks for Christmas last year, 2019. And then we all know what happened.
Yes.
COVID happened.
It wasn't my fault.
And, okay, I won't blame you then. But it really shifted things for me, as it did for, I'm sure, many people watching. And that is when I hit a rock bottom, when I was living in my parents' basement out in Waconia, divorced, in the middle of winter, after my body had been used to, 80-degree weather for the last how many years. and I hit a real low point. And that's when I started reaching out for help. And I had seen a therapist after my divorce, during my divorce, after my divorce in California, but I was searching for places in Minnesota because now I was here. And I had a friend recommend Heather Bowl at the Hive.
Sure.
And at the time, it wasn't the Hive. It was just Heal Her Peer Support. And Heather really blazed the trail, especially in that community when it came to peer support. And after just a few sessions with her, I found a therapist and got on my way with her. And I just joined a little online Zoom book study, as a lot of us did, especially back in March. I started a book study with her, and after just a few times of interacting, she's like, you know, if you would ever like to become a peer support specialist, like, I would hire you in a second. You're so good at this. And I started thinking about it, and I just was like, you know what? I can't think of anything more fulfilling than using my story to help people. So I submitted my application. After going through what I went through in California, I actually got really passionate about healing. I read a ton of books. I took a ton of courses just on continuing education for when it came to mental health and healing, specifically from relationship trauma, cycles that I found myself in, and really digging deep into that. And so, thinking of using that and then parlaying it with another certification on top of it, which was peer support specialist, I was like, awesome. I had no idea what a peer support specialist was, by the way. But once I learned that it was someone who, uses their lived experience to help others, that secret sauce, as Heather likes to call it, where when we say we know how you feel, we know how you feel, because we've been there. And like you kind of touched on earlier, it's not that we're going to tell you what to do. We kind of just help you because we've been where you are, and we're like a beacon of hope saying we've made it through. You can make it through too. Let's do this together. You're not alone. And so that is when Heather had this dream. She's had this dream for a while to start a facility for peer support specialists to serve people. And that's where the Hive was born. And so in July, we opened our doors mid-COVID. I mean, we made it work. With what we could, being a mental health facility, we were able to keep things limited and things like that, but stay open. And she's the director and owner. I work under her as the assistant director, but I also serve my own LLC, which is Tiffany Grace Peer Support.
Excellent.
That I serve individual one-on-ones, but I also serve as the assistant director of the Hive, and we are to March, and it's felt like a crazy, not even to March yet, we're to February. We're not even to March yet. It feels like March.
Yeah.
It feels like March, right?
Year, huh?
Right?
It's coming up on that now, so.
It's coming up on that, yeah. So the Hive is there. We are a women's mental health and wellness facility. We have dreams to expand to men. We would love to include men into, first starting with a circle there. And I have a real passion, again, for relationships. So I have a passion for men and the struggles that men go through as well. So we would love to expand. That's the plan, is to keep expanding, to reach, closer to communities, closer to the city. Hopefully, dreaming big, as Heather and I like to do, nationally, internationally. We would love for places like the Hive, facilities like the Hive, with peer support specialists and any other mental health professionals to become a regular part of the community to help break down that stigma that comes with mental health. You think straitjacket and padded walls, and I think people get nervous when it comes. And I'll share my story freely. I'm 4, 5, 6 years into my healing, but when you're first starting out, it's scary to kind of speak out that I'm, when you have a broken leg, you can see it. When you have a broken arm, you can see it. When we suffer with depression and anxiety, people can't see it. And so they have trouble sometimes wrapping their mind around it or really knowing how to help you. And so making that more of a common thing in communities is what we hope to do with this. And starts with, as I love to say to people that I serve, the journey of 10,000 miles starts with one single step. And I think we're past a few steps now, but we're still just beginning this journey. Like I said, we opened our doors in July, and we're there. I think people just don't know we're there. So getting the word out is, thank you so much for having me on, just to help get the word out that we're a tool right now, especially after COVID and everything that people have been through.
I think Waconia, people don't even know where Waconia is, let alone where the Hive is. So
yeah.
I think if we could even narrow that down for them,
yes.
we might be able to help them find where you are. Because it's not a huge community, but you've done, even over this period of time with the pandemic, you've done some pretty impressive work building your clientele and getting the word out to people who are a little bit more the rural side of the suburbs. And have you found that from the training that you've had as a peer support specialist, do you find that kind of small town life is another kind of barrier to people seeking help?
Yes.
You know, it's one thing if you walk into a medical building in the Twin Cities. It's a different thing if you walk into a place that everybody knows what that one place is. Mm-hmm. And then the skepticism and the stigma around that might keep some people from even seeking that help. How have you found you've been able to break some of that down?
Oh, yeah. You know, even just coming from New York and Los Angeles back to the Midwest, I've seen a lot of different people and cultures and ways of thinking and belief systems and things like that. And, you know, Minnesota, nice people here, tend to be a little more closed off, a little more private, a little more, you know, stiff upper lip, which is totally fine. There's no judgment in that. But like you said, it does bring up some other barriers. In LA, everyone had a therapist, everyone talked about it, everyone talked about their guru or whatever. It wasn't a weird thing. Here, it's almost like you're admitting you have a problem or something like that, kind of mindset, and trying to help break down some of those barriers. Heather and I kind of have a tagline for the Hive, which helps do that, which is called "Where Mental Health Feels Like Home." So the facility that we've created isn't scary. It's not clinical feeling. It feels like we specifically have this commercial property that used to be a home but is zoned for commercial, and so it feels like a home when you walk in. It's not scary. It smells like we have a signature scent. It smells lovely. There's free coffee. There's a cozy little fireplace. It's just a welcoming place, and every person that's entered has said that. So I think that's one way that we do that, is just trying to make people feel as comfortable as possible when they walk in. I have my little therapy dog, Luna, there, that she welcomes everybody, and that right away is an icebreaker for people. Animals are so therapeutic. But I think what I find a lot in this area, in that area out in Waconia, is that it's a lot of, maybe early 30s to 40s, moms with young kids. And it's hard, and it's been harder in COVID. It's hard to find time to steal away from your children, and there's a lot of mom guilt associated with taking time for myself, like going and healing myself, spending that time with other women, connecting, is one of the biggest barriers I find. And so I just love to use the analogy of like putting that air mask on yourself before you put on someone else.
Sure. That's a great analogy for that. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit more about what are some of the issues people are bringing to the experiences that they're having, women who come in there, especially around the pandemic, around raising children that are trying to learn in a different way. I've heard some statistics about women during the pandemic that I want to bring up with you and get your thoughts on. So stay with us. Tiffany Splettstoeszer. Excuse me. We'll be right back.
Hi there. Sorry to disappoint you if you're expecting a lunatic on a rampage. I'm Kalen, and I've been living with schizophrenia for 11 years. People like me with a diagnosis of mental illness face stigma and discrimination every day. Luckily, I've had the support of family and friends to help me live a full life.
It's time to talk about mental illness. Start the conversation. and pledge to end stigma at bringchangetomind.org.
Just having a little chat with Gabriel, our producer, in there, and he is a hoot. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I'm back here with Tiffany Splettstoeszer from the Hive in Waconia, where she was telling us a little bit about the work that she does as a certified peer support specialist and working with women from out in the what is that, fifth ring suburbs out in Waconia? Is that where we get way out into that?
It's getting there. There's not much past it.
I tell you what, though, everything is getting closer, isn't it? In the cities, it's kind of
Yes.
growing. And although coming back, if you drove in LA or New York, you're probably so thankful to wait behind a hay baler on the road here.
Oh yes, the traffic it's a treat.
It's
The
ridiculous.
Minnesota traffic compared to what I've said in the last 11 years.
So you're back here. We were talking a little bit about what work with women, especially the women that seem to the demographic out in that neck of the woods, the younger moms, women with children going through school. We know that the pandemic has been hard both on kids who are trying to learn in a different format now, at home learning, splitting it up. We've got younger kids going back to school, older kids still doing it from home. So that can really be challenging for a parent. But tell me what you are talking to women about at the Hive and what they're experiencing during this, both from their role as a parent, maybe a working mother, as the head of a household, and how they're trying to juggle a lot of things, and what that might have developed for people who otherwise felt like they really had everything under control before.
Yeah, I think you said it best. Like, what happens when everything that had been kind of set up all of a sudden blows up in your face? And it's a struggle I see with a lot of women there, especially with that distance learning that's been happening this year. The quarantining, and you know, as someone that really focuses on relational healing, the effect that it's had on, you know, their partners, the marriages that people have, the families that they've built, and just the strain that it's put on there. Everyone has been stuck inside together for a year now, and it's hard to find a place for peace. It's hard to find a place where you feel like there's structure, because it feels like you kind of knew what you were doing, and then everything just falls apart. And you really, it's building resilience. I will say that. If we can kind of flip the script and say, okay, what is this doing for me? It is building resilience. You know, once you rolled with this year, mamas out there, you know you can roll with anything. So good for you. But I think one thing that women in general around that age, COVID or not, I hear a lot that they find that they've just lost their support group. They don't have the friends that they had from high school anymore or college, because they've all gone and started their own families, and you just naturally drift apart because you're just busy with your own families. And if you think about it, when we graduate, where do we really meet people besides maybe our jobs or possibly like church, something like that? But it's pretty limited. And then right now, with things being closed, with, you know, with churches have been closed, it was maybe one community thing for people, or like I said, the jobs, lots of people lost jobs, or lots of people are working from home, so they don't have that social aspect anymore. So finding places where you can connect with people, and get that support back. I think as a mom especially, you just need some support. You're feeling alone, you're feeling overwhelmed. Get that support, and that's what the Hive is there for. Our motto is life will sting, community will heal. And boy, did it sting in 2020. So we fully believe, and we know more than ever now, how much that human connection is important, you know, just even a smile or a hug. And once we were deprived of it for a year, everyone is feeling it right now. And so giving women that space, that they can just take a break. They can take a break from their kids, from their husband maybe that they're sick of looking at, and not only get a break, but then connect with other women who are feeling the same way. And building friendships and building connections, I think, is just so important to weather that season of life. especially with the young kids. And we have certain groups that are made for young kids. We have certain, we have some circles for kids. Again, we keep them separate from the adults because we still want it to be a space that women can just go to get away, like a safe space for them. But we have specific groups for teens and tweens, especially teen and tween girls who are trying to navigate that. And then we have some for younger ones as well. So we have things for everyone. Because we just want people to know you're not alone. You don't have to do this alone. It feels alone right now because we haven't had any connection.
Wow.
But we're there for you.
Well, if there's one thing I'd like to teach women about during this pandemic with masks is the difference between someone smiling with their eyes and a creepy stare. And I'm trying to learn them.
Oh.
Because you just can't see underneath that mask. And
No.
I'm not good with the eyes. Tell me a situation where, in using your skills, your lived experience as a peer support specialist, do you have an example of a time where you really felt like that you hit on all cylinders with that experience? Because we talk a lot about that people very often feel, man, I don't know what to say to somebody, so I'm just not going to say anything. And I think when you go through this training to become a peer support specialist, you are asked to really bare your soul and dive right in where other people may be backing away from somebody. Tell me a time where you really felt like that training was far more than what they might have gotten from even going to see their doctor or clinician.
Well, Heather and I like to say that people's number one desire in life is to be seen, heard, and understood. And I think, when you think of the physical things that people are going through right now, you can't even begin to deal with the mental stuff until you've met all the physical needs, right? Just having a safe place to sleep, a warm meal in your belly, things like that. Then we can get to the mental health aspect of things and start peeling back layers there. I think, thinking back to the training and I remember specifically one day of training where we were talking about trauma and realizing that, as a peer support specialist, I don't have all the answers. I'm not a therapist. Like, I'm not even saying therapists have all the answers. They're humans too, right? We're all just doing our best here. But our lane is peer support specialists. So it's knowing that we've struggled with that same disorder, that same recovery story that you're going through, we've gone through it. And so I think for me, a lot of the stuff that came up for me was that the trauma that came from the abuse that I went through. Sure. And I didn't have a moment where I thought I was further along in my journey, and in the training I was like, wow, this is still affecting me. And so I kind of knew where to hone in. And just having that, the humbling yourself too, to know I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to keep looking for them. And I think that's what I love most is when I connect with someone, and I connect with a lot of women that come in and have that abusive relationship or the divorce. And there was a lot of shame from my story when it came to choosing divorce as an option for me. Raised in the family I was raised in, it was not ever something that I thought would be a part of my story. And here I am, and here I'm dealing with it. And I think when it comes to just giving women who are in that situation the opportunity to be seen and heard and understood, I feel like that's just what they need in that moment to help them reach a space of clarity. For me, it was a book that my therapist recommended that I read, and then I realized what I'm going through is abuse. That for me gave me permission to take the next step to do what I needed to do, get out of that situation. So providing these women with different tools that might give them that aha moment. I'm not there to tell them what to do. I'm not there to tell them to stay or leave. I'm there to just help walk them through things until they can decide for themselves. And I've been there, and I think I just love giving them that space to just be seen, heard, and understood, because I think so many women who are in that abusive situation, that is one of the things that's been stripped from them. And so they feel like they don't even have a voice anymore. So that's probably one of my, I don't want to say favorite parts. It's always a bittersweet thing with a client because you're so happy that they're there, that you can help them, but you hate the circumstances that they're there for.
Right. Right. The fact that they've come, though,
yes,
is such a huge step. And I think that's one thing that we
huge.
really recognize as peers is that, boy, you really sometimes have to come out of your comfort zone.
Oh.
But I think what you and Heather have done out there in Waconia with this location is really created a space for people to feel comfortable. And if you want more information about what Tiffany and Heather are doing out at the Hive in Waconia, you can simply go to hivemn.com and find more information. Tiffany, we'd love to have you back as we are always developing storylines around peer support specialists and that training and what brought people to that and building this network of peers. So thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you,
Everybody give it up
Chris.
for Tiffany.
Thank you.
I just want to come on and over and say hi. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, we're going to be right back in a minute with musician Miki Speer. Come on back. Woohoo!
As we weather the COVID-19 pandemic, remember to
Can
not
you guys
only
hear me
take care
okay?
of your physical health, but also your mental health. The pandemic news and uncertainty can trigger feelings of loneliness, despair, and hopelessness. You might also feel irritable or on edge, especially given
Yay!
all
Awesome.
the
How's
changes
my
that have
internet? I'm a
occurred in
little
short
nervous. I'm a
period of
little
time.
freezy today.
Good self-care
Okay.
is the key to reduce
I can hear you.
anxiety and keep your spirits high. While so many of our normal activities are disrupted, practice kindness. Be patient with your loved ones. Eat healthy. Avoid turning to addictive substances. Get enough sleep and move. Physical exercise is good for mind and body. You will feel better for it. Let's fight COVID-19 together.
Hey, Zoom's working this time. I love it.
Hey, how are you? Oh, I'm getting a little echo from the TV. Let me turn me down for a minute. But I've got somebody who was supposed to be here last week. Hey, do you remember us talking to this woman? Or I was talking about her. And you know, the background that she has, this is so cool. She sat around and waited after her talk show she does online last week. And got ready to jump right in with us. And she did that again tonight. And we actually got her on the line during the commercial break, which we didn't have before. So I am so excited. I want to welcome author, musician, and talk show host. It's Miki Speer. Miki! Hey, you made it!
Thank you. Thank
Welcome,
you so
young
much,
lady.
Chris.
How are you?
Thank you so.
Thank you for your
doing
patience
good.
of sitting there for a week, just waiting for us to actually get this hooked up. She's had those headphones on for a week. Your
A
ears have
whole
gotta be
week.
really sore.
Yes. When will Chris call me back, please? Yeah, no, it was.
Tell me how
No,
things have been
thank
going
you.
with Light a Candle for Me since Friday when it dropped.
Yeah, so my new single dropped on Friday called Light a Candle for Me, and it's been such a godsend, Chris. Truly, I am so honored, so blessed. It's been shared a bunch on Facebook, it's had a bunch of streams on Spotify, people have bought it on iTunes. I am just so humbled and honored that it went so well. It was my first solo production. I mean, I've written a million songs before, but this is my first solo wrote, solo produced, solo everything, A to Z. So it was a huge project for me, but it was really just such a blast. And I actually created a workbook that I wanted to tie in with the song, because Light a Candle was in reference to the candle lighting ceremony that a lot of grievers do in honor of their loved one who's no longer with them. So I wanted to write a song that kind of fit that space, and so this workbook has also been going great. People get it for free on my website, and it has the lyrics, a poem that I wrote that you can kind of read for the candle lighting ceremony, as well as some reflection questions. So it's just been a great week. Like you said, a lot has happened since I've seen you last week. It seems like a year ago, but I'm just so honored to be here, Chris. So thank you so much.
Well, I don't want to be presumptuous, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to ask you if you might play that very song for us tonight. Oh, wait, what is that?
What's your first
a guitar.
clue?
Get out of here. Oh, my gosh. Well, if you wouldn't
How did
mind,
this get
I'd love to
here?
hear it.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Just happen to have that there, huh? Oh, don't make her start skipping. No. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hang on. There she is. Whoa. Whoa.
Abs-
You froze up.
Oh, did I freeze? Am I back?
You're back.
Freeze frame.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Miki Speer with her single "Light a Candle for Me."
You know some doors can't be opened, and words can't heal a heart that's broken. Holding me in your arms is what you really need. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me and let the flame light up the room like my smile used to do, and let the memories begin to fill your mind. Don't be afraid to say my name and begin to share your pain, and remember I'm right by your side. No, we can't go back to the way it used to be. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me. When I passed away, your world stopped turning, but the love we share won't stop burning. I know one day we'll meet again, and there won't be a missing piece. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me and let the flame light up the room like my smile used to do, and let the memories begin to fill your mind. Don't be afraid to say my name and begin to share your pain, and remember I'm right by your side. No, we can't go back to the way it used to be. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me.
Woo! I didn't want to play this in the middle because I couldn't find the beats for myself, and I didn't want to interrupt or anything. So, oh, that's beautiful.
Next time.
That's
Thank
yeah,
you so much.
We'll work something out ahead of time with that. And you couldn't see this, and you saw the reaction on my face, but you were getting Zoom photobombed by your cat back there, jumping up and down on the table.
Oh! Drama queen, right? Diva. Two cats. The black one is Ace, and if you can see the white one, he's ever so slightly right there. Yeah. Duke is the white one, Ace is the black one. Yeah, they're divas. They're so camera hungry. It's impossible to get them out of the shot.
Well, like, we can do backups for her if you like. We can jump in. Tell us, I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, but if you would tell the audience a little bit about the book that you wrote and what brought you to start the show that you did just before you jumped down with us.
Absolutely. So when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, she was 40 years old, and 2.5 years later she passed away, and I was 13 and she was 43. Way too young, and I spent the better part of the decade avoiding grief and pretending I was fine. I legitimately tried to convince myself I was fine, and why would you think I was anything other than a normal 13-year-old? And eventually you can only run from grief for so long. And so about 10 years later is really when all these things started to crumble, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And I couldn't really figure out why. So I went to the counselor, and pretty fast they realized I had this weird idea that I didn't have to grieve. And of course, that's not true. So I learned very quickly the importance of leaning into our grief, and that goes for all emotions. And I just wanted to, now that I've gone through that for several years now, and I see the beauty on the other side of the pain, I wanted to start a show where we address our own grief. So I have myself and other guests come on, and they talk about what's helped them and sharing their stories. People know, oh, I'm not alone, and this is some tips I can do. But conversely, and I'm sure this goes for anybody who's kind of been in a unique situation, grief or not, people don't know how to talk to you, and they're super awkward about it. And so I also wanted to have a show where people could come on and learn and be like, okay, how do I talk to somebody whose child died? Like, for most people, it's a very awkward situation because they don't want to say the wrong thing. And so that's my whole hope, is that through my music, through my book, through my show, and this is my book, by the way, it's called My Heart Still Remembers.
There it is.
And it's a grief, it's a grief workbook. You can buy it on Amazon or wherever, and it's just, I would say, about an hour activity, front to back, to just help you lean into that grief, especially that unprocessed grief from a while ago. And that's my own personal process that I use now on days that are hard, where it's like, okay, I'm feeling things boiling up. I'm feeling my natural tendency to push away come back. So I know I have to go grieve. So that's what that is. So that's my whole mission. That's my whole show. And I love connecting with you guys who I know take mental health and everything so seriously. So we're all connected. We're all on the same team.
Seriously. Will you show the book again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gabriel wants to get a shot of it. There we go. Nice. Perfect. Well, would you happen to have one more song that you could play for us tonight?
I've got one more for you, Chris.
You have one more somewhere in there. Even a half of one. Like Tim Cheesebro did that one day, Tim.
He's the best.
Clever.
Tim is the best. He's an angel. So this next one is called See Me, and I'm not the smartest cat in the room, but I know I'm the last thing in between you and the rest of your night. So I'll do a condensed version of it because it's kind of a longer song. But See Me is my first grief song that kind of put me, not on the map by no means am I like a top 40 radio. Exactly, grief top 40. I'm so sorry. But it's the first one I did, but on Spotify it's not my voice. I wasn't confident yet enough in my singing ability, and now I'm getting better at that. And it's also from the perspective of a person who's passed away. So just wanted to set that up.
Excellent.
I can see from here, your heart is shattered. Just know it's because our love mattered, and that empty place at every table, I'd be there if I could. If I was able, and I know it's not the same, but I know you'll see me again. 'Cause when your tires hit the road, that's where you'll find me. And be sure to listen for me singing in the morning breeze. And you'll know I'm near with the first flowers of spring. No, it won't be long. And when the wind is at your back, that's when you'll feel me. And you'll see me laughing as I dance among the autumn leaves. And you'll hear how much I love you when you can't hear a thing. No, it won't be long until you see me.
with See Me. What year did that come out originally?
That came out 2 years ago, so 2019, I believe.
Wow. And following it
And
up
if
with your next single. I love it.
Yeah.
And where can people find your music? And your book?
And my book! I would just say head to MikiSpeer.com. It's a one-stop shop where you'll see my music,
right.
You'll see my book, you'll see the episode replays. I just cannot wait to connect, and send me emails. I love it when fans connect with me, and so that's part of being on my weekly email list. You get all the replays, you get all the free stuff, everything on there, and then you can just reply to that email, and that's how I get to hear lots of great stories that rip your heart out, but at the same time it feels good, if that makes sense.
And you have musical guests on your show.
I do! Yes!
It's like we just keep churning and burning around this whole circle of people who are working to help other people feel better. And I just love
Absolutely.
it. Thank you so much for taking the time again this week to be with us. And we look forward to connecting you. And maybe we can get you connected with Tiffany, and we build this well.
I would love that. I would love that.
Feel better. Once again, from Seriously Mental, we want to thank our guests. This is Miki Speer. And then also Tiffany Splettstoeszer from the Hive in Waconia. Information you can find from both of them. She's still hanging around. She wanted to hear some music too. Please remember, we do this because you are not alone in what you're going through. There are people out there who do understand and do care. So reach out, take some time, and come back next week. We look forward to seeing you again somewhere around the 8 o'clock hour next Tuesday on Seriously Mental. Seriously? Seriously. Bye.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.